Okay, so thank you guys. Tonight is Tuesday, the 25th. I almost couldn't figure out what day it was because there's so much going on my planner. So welcome to our team benefit call. I am super, super excited about the call tonight. I feel like there's a lot of good reminders that I've been able to gather over the last week on mistakes that coaches, especially newer coaches, make, and also the ones that are more seasoned like myself. We get settled into our ways and we kind of forget that there are some of those basics that are just really good habits, or things that, it's just easy to fall back into some bad habits over time, just like with our eating, like, it's just one little bite-sized Snickers, and then it turns into an entire lifestyle. So anyway, I think this will be really super duper helpful. And really, there is so much going on our team page right now that I kind of want to just get right into the meat of this call. And I would prefer let's start recognition for the team page, because as we know, our sneak peek, which is the exact same thing as our open house, is this week. And so let's do every bit of recognition on our team page, so all of these people can see how we support each other, how we recognize one another, and the energy that is part of our team culture. And if you didn't participate in last month's sneak peek open house, definitely do it this month, because everybody that added people to the open house last month really had a great response, and our team grew quite a bit last month as a result of that. And this month I'm even more excited about it because of Megan Woldsen's call, and I'm going to be implementing some of those ideas into the content on the open house. We will have a live business opportunity on this Thursday, the 27th at 9 p.m. and then another one on this Friday, the 28th at 1 p.m., both Eastern Standard Time. So the people who are in the open house on the team page, they'll get notified of those two times, but you're more than welcome to invite people maybe that aren't able to be in the open house for whatever reason, or maybe there's somebody that just wants to hop on for 1 hour instead of doing something for 3 days. That's totally fine. To give you an idea, I am planning on, because I also, being on the leadership wall on Facebook, I also have the privilege of being able to talk with Megan in more depth about her sneak peek. And so I've gotten a little bit more out of what she's done besides just what was on the National Wake Up Call. And I think what we can easily do is keep ours officially at 3 days, but it sounds like her day 5 was basically their enrollment day. So I don't have any problems with on day 4 of ours wrapping it up and enrolling people on that. So essentially ours would be 4 days long. But day 4 is going to be when we're touching base with everybody. We're congratulating them on finishing up the open house and asking them, do you want to stay on the team page as a coach? What kind of coach do you want to be? That kind of thing. And enrolling on day 4, which would be on Sunday, which is kind of weird. You may want to, depending on what you do on Sundays, you may want to touch base with them and ask if it would work out best for them to connect with you on Sunday or on Monday. I think that's reasonable. The other thing, as I was thinking through what she did, was if we're going to continue using somewhat more of her format, and I think it's worth tweaking, because she's obviously been crazy successful and has 22 success starters in the calendar year, that we consider using some of the techniques that she's used. So anyway, but I think probably what I would do is start on Monday and go through Thursday. I think people start mentally checking out on Friday personally. But I still want to make sure that people are on our team page on that Thursday, because that's a big recognition day and it's lots of fun. And I think it would be very party-like a party-like atmosphere to have recognition and enrollments and all on the same day. So anyway, all that up, everything is changing all the time, but we still have the consistency of an open house, of business opportunity presentations each and every month. And they're always that last week of the month, okay? So you can always know that that consistency is there. And even if you don't have specific dates, you can always be telling people, well, last week of the month, we're going to have our open house and that kind of thing. Okay, so just to explain, since I just posted on the team page about the have your cake and eat it too group, I am more than happy to have anybody that wants to promote and share that group help me run that and add your people to it. The thinking there is so that you would know what's going on in my head is that it's going to be 21 days. I am going to be promoting the 3-day refresh challenge pack with that through the end of the month. And if there are any stragglers, they may be able to get it, on September 1st or 2nd, but obviously the sale will probably be over at that point. But basically what I've been doing in my meal plan the last several weeks that has worked great. And last week and this week, I've been using the 21-day fixed meal plan. But when I'm using my meal plan or creating it, I'm starting with dessert. And I'm starting with things that feel like treats to me. Even if it's like in the Fix 8 cookbook, those banana apple muffins, that's a purple and a yellow. I think or is it a purple and a red? Anyway, whatever it is, I don't think it's a yellow. I think it's a purple and a red. Whatever it is, it felt like a treat to me, but it was not like, it didn't count as a treat, like according to the containers. And then, having a skinny pina colada a couple times a week and some of the things that are approved in the 21-day fix, I'm starting with those and I am having no trouble not going out to restaurants on the weekend or blowing it a couple times a week or more, which I did before. Because when I am too strict, I binge. And I think there's probably a good portion of people out there that are like that. And I would much rather build things and treats into my day-to-day eating habits rather than go off the deep end. So that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be promoting like Snickers bars or junk. It's going to be healthy, but the more that we can share things that work for us with our challengers, the better. And I think too, what I'm going to do, and this goes along with what Melanie Mitro was saying, and I don't know why I never would have thought of this, but in one of the videos that we had posted, I think on the team page, she said she does a call to action post, and then the entire week following her call to action, she makes posts that back up or support that call to action. And I was like, how easy is that, And I mean, I think in general, we probably do that without realizing it if we're consistently posting. Because, say you put a fitness and nutrition call to action out there, then every day you're posting some food and posting your workout. It supports it, but I think when she mentioned it, it was very much specific and it was much more dialed in and in tune with what her call to action was. And it just made so much sense. I was like, why haven't I been doing that? So it seemed like so simple. So anyway, I foresee making a lot of Shakeology desserts and posting about those and the stuff in the Fix 8 cookbook and posting about that. Whether I eat it or not, it'll be great for the family to eat it. And then we could also have a collective, on the group page, be sharing each other's pictures and recipes as well. So helping each other out so that we're not making 21 different desserts in 21 days or something, unless we want to. Okay, so to dig right in, let's see how many I came up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Great. I like multiples of 5, so this is perfect. I'm sure I planned it just that way. So number 1, these of the mistakes. Number 1, coaches underestimate the power of personal development. And I don't know how to teach that other than to say you just got to do it, because until you do, you kind of don't know the difference. You know what it feels like to live the way you always have, and you know what it feels like to only get so far. And personal development is the gap. Like, it's the glue that bridges you with your potential. Personal development, right in there. So that's number one. And there's a reason why all the top coaches preach and preach and preach until we're blue in the face about personal development, because it makes a difference. And it has to be every day. I always say this, but you can't do 7 hours worth of personal development on one day and then be done for the week. It's just like brushing your teeth. Your teeth get kind of grimy and gross if you're not going to brush them the rest of the day or the rest of the week, even if you brush them 7 times on one day. It just is not good. Okay, so number 2, coaches don't engage daily in the challenge groups. And this one is hard. I at least for me, it's hard, and it's a real commitment for me, because there are plenty of other things that I would rather do at 6 or 6:30 or 7 in the morning rather than put a post on the challenge group page, or after I've already climbed into bed that night and I'm ready to just check out mentally. And then I'm like, oh man, I didn't post in the challenge group, and I could just as easily post the next day, but I'm committed to doing it. And it's as much for my accountability as anything. And we have to be our best challengers. If we want to have good challengers, then we have to be the best challenger. So, question from Kelly. Do we post in all the groups that the group is involved in? So I think what you're asking is, if you have people in more than one group, do you post in multiple groups? Is that the question?
Yeah, like, like I see that you have a size challenge group going on, and then there's 2 21-day groups going on still, like from July and then August. And so are we responsible to post in all of those?
If you are, if you have people in a group, you need to post in that group. It's going to be the same post, so it's going to be a matter of copying and pasting. But that's if you have somebody in that group. There are going to be times when you specifically want to be, say, in the size group because you're doing size, but you don't have anybody in that group. So you may post in that group for your own transformation. And it kind of stinks, like ideally you're only going to be in the group where your people are, but sometimes it just doesn't happen, and you may have somebody in that group. And wherever you've got people, you need to be posting, because they came into the group for you, not me or whoever else is leading the group. Make sense? So yeah, we try and make it, or at least I do, make it so that I'm involved in as few groups at one time as possible. I feel like over the last month, we've added more as a result of the product launch. Usually there's just, like one at the beginning, one in the middle, one at the beginning, one at the middle. But partly because of Team Cup and partly because of product launch, I know there's been one extra one thrown in there for a possibility of being able to invite to one other week and round up more people with a sense of urgency. So you may have a slightly skewed impression of how it normally is on a normal month. So good question. Number 3, coaches don't get on calls. And I really shouldn't say too much more than that, because I don't want to incriminate myself. But I see it happen all the time. And I believe it was Nicole Smith at one point said that she noticed a big difference in her business once she started getting on calls and just making that commitment to get on. Obviously, it's more effective live because you've got that opportunity to ask a question and clarify and engage in the call. always listen to the recording, even if you can't get on the call live. Like, that's a no-brainer. If you're committed to building your business, you got to know what's going on with the team. You've got to know what's going on with our products. And the most important part is that you have to stay plugged in for your own positive insulation. And there's always going to be something good come out of being on a call. Always. It's never a waste of time. If it is, and we have a call where you have gotten absolutely nothing out of it, let me know. And chances are I'm going to let you volunteer for the next call. Because, I mean, we always need to have people stepping up and volunteering to train, because you guys all have your act together just as much and not, if not more than I do. And you know all these things, and you're learning different things that I need to learn. So it would be a huge blessing to have other people be doing training on these calls, because I always need to go back to check myself on all different areas of the business. So getting on calls and just not seeing the value in that, and underestimating the value of engaging in the calls. And quite honestly, these team calls are where we as a team really can get to know each other. And the more that we can spend 5 minutes before the call, 5 minutes after the call, get on a Zoom on a Friday night or whenever, that we're sitting around doing some invites and chat a little bit and, laugh while we're, oh, so-and-so just told me they can't buy Shakeology because they just bought a new Coach purse, whatever, just having interaction like that as teammates helps. And I know that sounds strange, but like statistically, we've been reading the book by John Gordon called Soup. Statistically, people who have a best friend in their workplace are more engaged in their job. We've got to be friends. We've got to take the time to get to know each other and hang out together. And over the course of 2 different countries, that's not easy. But if any team can do it, I know that we can do it. So the more time that we spend live on video chats, again, don't underestimate the power of that, because it makes a difference, and it makes doing this business with friends more fun. And that also happens in the challenge groups. When we're posting our why and the happy every day and sharing a little bit of ourselves, well, let's ask each other about the movie that we saw. Oh, how many years have you been married? What's your husband do? What's their name? Like, let's take the time, the extra 2 seconds to get to know each other a little bit better. Because we're going to like each other, I'm pretty sure, because I've got connections with each one of you, and there's a reason that you're on the team, and because we're really cool, fun people. So calls. Okay, that's number 3. Went off on a little tangent there. Number 4, people underestimate the impact of their own transformation. Now this one, I know there are going to be coaches out there who are like, I'm not ready to share my photos. I don't have a good story yet. Well, here's what I need you to do. Even if you're not ready to show yourself in your string bikini or whatever, and please don't send me pictures of you in a bra and underwear. I've had people do that, and I'm just not usually ready for that in the morning when I wake up. So please don't share that on Facebook either. But I have had people, and it's really effective, just have on their jeans that are too big and to hold them out, like they're wearing them, but they can stick their hand now in the front down their jeans to show that there's a gap there. That shows progress, and that's all you got to do. So even if you're not showing side by side before and after, that's a really, really effective way for somebody who's not confident in their skin yet to be able to share their transformation on social media. And I'm pretty sure just about everybody would be comfortable doing that, because it feels really good to put on those jeans and have to either put a belt on them to, or fold them down. I've had people rolling their jeans down to keep them up. Your transformation story is money. And we have to not make the mistake. Here's a seasoned coach tip. Don't make the mistake of thinking, well, I've shared it. Now what am I going to do? I've hit my goal. You keep sharing it. You keep sharing it, and you keep sharing it, and you keep sharing it. And then you share other people's transformation stories, and we share each other's transformation stories, and we give shout outs and we give recognition to each other and to our challengers. And we can't make the mistake of thinking that just because we shared it, that everybody in our following saw it. What is it, like 16% of people actually see what you post? That's tiny. And if you're doing the 3 vital behaviors and adding new contacts every day, then I guarantee they haven't seen, most of the people are new and they didn't see your transformation story. So that's that. Number 5, Success Club is a business decision. It's not a recognition decision. It's a business decision. And it's non-negotiable as a working coach. I got that, or I adapted that, if you will, from Arnold Nakaha. And he was saying that elite is a business decision. It's not a recognition decision. It's a business decision. And I think the same rings true for Success Club. It's a choice that we make, that this is something that we are going to do for our business. It has nothing to do with the recognition that is associated with it. We either run our business like a CEO, and that's something that we do. That's a choice. And again, if you haven't had enough personal development, you may be second guessing me there. And if you are, then go back and read some more. Okay. Next one. People save their points for the next month, or they stop pushing when they hit Success Club. So I made that wrong decision early on, and I was living in fear. And I know I've told you guys, or at least some of you, this before, because I made that mistake and it really hampered my progress. So, and I'm still guilty of it. There are certain months where, granted, then I was stopping at 5, and I would save those extra 2 points for the next month because heaven forbid I don't find one other person the next month. Well, if I had gotten 7, then I would be pushing busting my butt to get that extra person the following month. And it's a good thing to do that. So we don't live in fear. We live in abundance and self-confidence. And now I'm kind of at the point where when I hit 20, I stop. Why is that? It's just it's human nature, it's a comfort thing. So don't stop. Don't make the same mistake that I did, because my business could have been far, like a year ahead if I had not made that mistake. Okay. Next one is people don't get vulnerable enough posting 3 to 5 times a day, every day. So this one is kind of a combination of 2 things. So this one's kind of a combination of 2 things. One is the consistency factor, and the other piece of it is the you factor and being vulnerable and sharing you. And this one I'm guilty of too. These are not things that I'm just like, you do wrong and you do, these are things that hit home with me too. So it's really, really easy, especially if you've got the same type of personality as me, to want to get the post done quick and check it off my list so I can move on to other things. And so the post goes out there and nobody's life was changed as a result of my post because I didn't share enough of me. And if I've been doing all sorts of personal development, there's a lot that I've got in my head to share. So I would encourage you to make a good post immediately after you do your personal development. Because we've got to start treating, just as Megan E. Wilson treats her open house participants as coaches already, we need to be treating our followers on social media as if they're challengers already. And we know that we want to be grooming them and giving them the personal development so that when they're in a challenge group, they're ready and they're going to be more successful. So yes, I made this whole thing just for Amanda. I was actually going to call it All the Mistakes Amanda Has Made. I'm teasing. I'm so teasing. You knew you were asking for that, right? No, it's all been me, and we are cut from the same cloth, so it's no wonder that we would make a lot of the same mistakes. Okay, so the next one, before I get into any more trouble, is don't learn. Okay, so coaches don't learn the products enough. And the reason I say this is because when we have an in-depth knowledge about our products, we're going to fall in love with them. And your passion about the products is going to be incredible, because they are incredible, like crazy, crazy incredible. And as sort of the team leader, just about every day a coach messages me, or even somebody, I'll tell you, even somebody who started selling some kind of Dove chocolates messaged me the other day and said, hey, what do you know about this plexus? And so people seem to just come to me and ask me for a comparison between our products and other products. So it's always been, I've always taken that upon myself to do the research, and I don't ever trust, there's a lot of people that'll share the grids of here's what's in Advocare and here's what's in Shakeology. I don't share any of those. I don't post any of those, because I want to do my own research. And I want each of my challengers to do their own research. I want each of my prospects to do their own research. And I want each of you to do your own research. That's my job. Just like I was always brought up to have the responsibility that if a pastor tells you something, you go and check your Bible and double check it and make sure. Because that's my responsibility to know what's in that book. And it's my responsibility to know what's in our products. And it's my responsibility to know what kind of workout it is, which means I need to go and test out and do each and every one of those workouts, because I need to talk about that with experience. We've got Beachbody on demand, and every single workout is on there. If we're not going and watching each one of those videos, then shame on us. How do we expect to talk to somebody with passion about a product that we don't know anything about? And the most important one of all, of course, would be Shakeology. We need to know the ins and outs of those products. Now, whether you have it memorized as to what ingredient does what, I'm not asking that, but spend 5 minutes every day, just 5 minutes every day, learning something about our products, and you're going to be blown away. In the Coach Online office, there are talking points on each product that we have. It's all back there. It's not hard to find, but again, do your own research, because your passion is going to explode. The more that you learn about the products, and passion goes a long, long way. So maybe you make a post after you do your personal development. And then maybe you make a post after you research about our products. And I'm telling you, like, your social media, your voice is going to start changing, and your passion is going to show through in all of these things. And that's going to increase your following. Okay, next one is coaches don't treat it like a business. And I heard that for the longest time, and I really, I thought I knew what it meant, but really I didn't know what it meant. And finally, the way that I take that, the way that it has the most meaning to me, is that if I am the CEO of $1 million company, I'm going to show up, because I've got a big stake in that. And if I've got an important meeting, I'm going to be there, even if I don't really feel like it. And I'm not going to just not return calls promptly, and I'm not going to take it lightly. And that's what you are. You are the CEO of your own company. And when we start to treat it like a 6-figure business, when we start to treat it like $1 million business, then it will become that. When we treat it like a hobby, it's going to stay a hobby. Next one. people don't use systems, and I am the queen of not having used systems. And this definitely slowed me down, probably 2 years worth. I probably could have been exactly where I am today 2 years ago if I had had systems in place, if that had either come naturally to me or I had been trained on it, or if I had known that I could have sought them out and found the answers, right? So systems, and that would be our monthly calendaring system. Now on the team page, we've got monthly activities in the files. All the upcoming activities are there. You get to edit the file. If you want to add a challenge group on there, you go right ahead. If you want to volunteer for running a week of a challenge group, you go right ahead. It's our team. It's each of our responsibility to run the team. It's not Traci's team. Asana, another huge system that has completely changed my business, as well as our coach onboarding process. Finally, and I mean, I know Kelly and I have talked like, oh my gosh, we started and we had no freaking idea what we were doing. And, you know, bless her heart, Geraldine did what she knew to do. And we were all just clueless, just making our own way. But there were not really good systems in place, and there was not a great onboarding system whatsoever, if there was even one at all. So now when you have a new coach, you send them to the pinned post on our team page. They can take it from there. It shows them every step of what to do. I am still getting Coach Basics posts inputted in there, but right now they've got plenty to do, and they should be able to be successful and hit Success Club straight out of the gate if that's what they want to do. Okay, next one is not putting first things first. So this one, there's a good book called The Number One. I'll have to double check on that. The One Thing. It's called The One Thing, okay? I can't remember who the author of it is, but if you're somebody who has trouble focusing, trouble figuring out what to be doing, that would be a good book for you. It was a good book for me because obviously I've had trouble with that. And I am the kind of person that chases the shiny object and, ooh, I see a ring light. I should go and buy the ring light, and then I'll get it set up, and then I'll do the best videos on Periscope. Obviously, I struggle with shiny objects, right? So maybe I need to go back and read The One Thing again. But first things first, and that means obviously going back to the 3 vital behaviors. And there was a post on our team page at some point this week where I said something to the effect of, would you guys contribute activities that you think successful coaches have? And I would like for each one of you guys to go back, if you didn't already add to that list. I want that to be a team collaborative effort where we all put an activity or more activities that we see that successful coaches do. Because wouldn't it be great to have that as a reminder? And if somebody feels like quitting or throwing in the towel, we say, well, here's what we said. These are the successful activities. Have you been doing all these? Oh no, I wasn't doing that. Maybe that's why I wasn't successful last month, right? And what I don't want it to be is something from Traci that is telling somebody to do all these things. It needs to be a team effort. So not putting first things first, that's the mistake there. Within that, just for one brief more second, within that, money-making activities. It's really easy for some people to do all of the things that don't make them money instead of the things that do make them money. So inviting and having new conversations with people and adding to your contact list, those would be money-making activities. Spending an extra 10 minutes making the graphic cuter, not a money-making activity. Okay, next one. Okay, so this one I do see a lot, and I know I've probably harped at people on this one, but bear with me because I do see it so often. New coaches get hung up on giving their energy to people who aren't ready. It might be challengers. It might be coaches. It might be people who have already enrolled and they're still not ready. Even though they spent the money, they're still not ready. And we continue to give, and we continue to try and drag, and we continue to fret over a couple people, when if we had blessed and released a long time ago, we would have been able to spend all that time fretting, inviting new people, and spending our energy on people who are willing and ready. So don't get hung up on people that are not ready. Work with the willing. That's what that means, is work with the willing. And when you have people that are engaging you in conversation on Facebook and you're messaging and they actually message back, don't spend your time messaging other people who are not responding to you. Message the one that's messaging you back. So that's what that means. Work with the willing. Okay. Stop. Other coaches, next mistake. They stop when they don't know what to say. I think this one is big for some people. Some people really are not confident in using their own words and coming up with their own words. I feel like this was an area where I was halfway decent coming in as a coach, because I had already done some other direct sales and I sort of knew a few techniques to use to have halfway decent wording. I still, have a long way to go. But where I did not do anybody a good service was writing my wording down and then sharing it. So now I'm trying to get better, just like posting the, event tonight, sharing anything that I'm doing so that people can take wording, save it in a file, save it on the team page, whatever, and be able to go back to good wording. If you see coaches that you follow and you like somebody's wording, copy and paste that wording into a file of just good verbiage. Maybe you've got a file that is great invites. Maybe you've got a file that's great business opportunity promotions. Maybe you've got a file for great transformation stories and you just like the way that it's worded. Don't copy and use that verbatim, but use that as inspiration when you go to write your own post. And if you still don't know what to say, reach out to your upline diamond coach and they will help you push past that. Don't just not say anything. Don't just stop inviting because you don't know what to say, or not respond to somebody because you don't know how to handle their objection. That's what we're here for. And the more that we can interact and help, the better. Next one. So number 14. They make the mistake of, after somebody says no, then they don't want to talk to them anymore. And I would encourage you to go back to every person who has ever said no to you and add value to them. So for example, today I had somebody that I met at John Maxwell. I had invited her in our conversation. I think she had mentioned that she had done a Beachbody program before when I was there in Orlando. And then I had invited her after I came back to look into Shakeology. So she responds and she says, no, I think I'm good. So am I just going to say, oh, okay, that's fine? No, what I'm going to do, I may say that, but then tomorrow I'm probably going to send her another meal plan or something that's going to add value specifically to her. Because I want her to know that A, I don't just care about the sale, and B, oh, maybe I would be more interested in this. If this is the kind of value that I get from this person, maybe I should look into that sometime, right? So it's also a great way to follow up with people. Just have something in your head, even if it's an inspirational graphic that you want to share. I always think that it's great if we have one of our short meal plans and we message that out to a bunch of people that can really add value to people. Or, like our favorite recipe of the week. Maybe with every conversation that you have next week, you attach your favorite recipe to it. So add value to everybody, including the no's. Last but not least, and this one was from another elite coach. I did ask some of my elite coach friends to weigh in. So these are not just from me. These are from other successful coaches. And the last one is not using a schedule. And this one, I'm like, oh, do we have to talk about that one? Because it's so hard sometimes. And depending on your lifestyle, like having been a stay-at-home mom forever, it's practically impossible to come up with business hours as a stay-at-home mom when you've got little people around you all the time, other than to say get up early and stay up late. Like during the day, it's just really hard. But the more that you can do things with consistency and setting a schedule, the more success you're going to have. Because again, that's a behavior of a CEO, and you're a CEO. So when you have something on Tuesday night at 9 p.m., which might happen to be the team call, and your kids are not in bed yet, if you had to leave to arrive at a part-time job that started at 9, would you have still left and asked your husband to kindly put both of them to bed that night? Probably. That goes along with, keeping a real schedule and treating it like a business. So some of these things, chances are, some of them have hurt for me to read tonight. Some of them have probably hurt for you guys to hear, but that's the point, because we all know that there are strengths that we have, and we all know that there are mistakes that we have made. We don't have to live in the mistakes. We don't have to beat ourselves up about it. And I would encourage you not to set out tomorrow and try and be perfect in all 15 of these areas. Pick two that you want to change, and then focus on that and see small success in that area. And then you can come back to the others and pick 2 more. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you guys. And if you would go to the team page in the next day, and 2 things. Add a shout out to somebody, doesn't matter who, and then help me on that list, the team collaborative list on successful behaviors of a coach. And that would be great, because I really want to make sure that on our open house, we are the first ones responding to posts each day. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll have a post on there. We as coaches need to be the first ones to respond and share our excitement and our stories, and then make sure that we are giving shout outs to people where it's due, and even if it's not due, just because it's fun. So we can make something up, right? All right, gang. Well, thanks again.